Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Blesson number 6 in our Backyard Revolution 365 Lessons series. We are so fortunate today to have our dear friend, Mr. Olin Bare, joining us all the way from Lexington, Virginia, who is going to talk with us today about traditional hunting. How are you doing?
Doing great, Adrienne.
Wonderful. We are so happy to have you here. Your expertise, of course, spans the gamut from traditional hunting to orienteering with map and compass, horseback riding, of course, horseback orienteering, as well as archery, as well as credits that can boast such accomplishments such as winning the 2011 Virginia Bow Hunters Association Traditional Archery State Championship, as well as being a Master Artist of Traditional Hunting for the Virginia Foundation for Humanities. That was last year, 2 years ago now, in 2010. And just recently, Olin Bare was added to the Bare Archery Pro staff as one of their main shooters. And so he's going to share with us today some of his history about traditional hunting. And this is a man who was recorded by the Smithsonian last year at the Richmond Folk Festival using turkey calls that he made himself. And so please let me turn the floor over to you, my friend, and tell us about these beautiful creations and what got you involved perhaps as a child in traditional hunting and making your own calls. Share with us. Tell us.
Thank you, Adrienne.
Thank you.
This past fall, I was asked by the Virginia Foundation to attend the Richmond Folk Festival and was treated quite well. And I was known as one of 3 traditional call makers for the state of Virginia. And here are some of the traditional calls that I learned how to make when I was growing up in the mountains outside of Lexington, Virginia, where a lot of my relatives are still at and have been there since the late 1700s. So, with that said, this is a call that is made simply out of a tortoise shell and a piece of Virginia slate, commonly used on roofs, around houses. It's a lot still used today. Comes out of a Buckingham slate bind, and corn cob with a cedar striker. And as you can tell, this piece of slate by itself sounds like this. You can put it in this resonator. No glue.
May I try?
Try this.
Oh, thank you. Now, when I asked you what the corn cob was for, you said it was part of the show.
It's part of a counterbalance. With all the combinations, then everything works right. If you take away one of the elements, it doesn't work right.
So this here is a holistic turkey call experience.
Pretty
And
much.
actually, the corn cob is gorgeous. I mean, aesthetically, it's just so pleasing. How did you get it to be that color?
It's naturally that color.
It's just beautiful. What sort of corn is that?
Just probably, I don't know, just any kind of corn cob will work for that.
Really? It
Yeah.
turns this hue? That's
Yeah.
okay.
After the
Wow.
the corn cobs look that way.
I
when the
thought
corn's
they
done.
were a little lighter. I
Mhm.
love this brown color. Okay. Okay. So I want to hold it this way, don't I?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you want to come down,
Mhm.
making a circle.
Mm-hmm.
So you start. And so you would please give us the scenario of you utilizing this.
Well, this would be I mean, you have different kinds of turkey calls, a lot of different turkey calls. But basically you have a cluck. Those turkeys will walk around all day and do that. They'll also do what's called a yelp, which will be 3 or more of these. So you can combine them. They just walk around all day doing that. Sometimes when they're real close, they'll just make a real soft call. Like a young turkey call would be real high pitched in the beginning. That sort of thing. So,
and the old gobbler that you were simulating earlier.
well, when you actually get into hunting, there's times when you may want to sound like a gobbler. And this is a box, commonly called a scratch box. That's, a lot of people make them. It's a traditional type call that's not readily available, but is available in the commercial market. But we made these. It's just essentially you can make them on a modern type saw or just a hand type saw with like primitive tools. It's designed to have a coarser sound to sound like the gobbler. Try that one.
Interesting.
Hold it between these two fingers.
Okay.
Like that.
And so now is this a more modern version, while the tortoise and the slate with the cedar would have been more of an indigenous approach, or no?
No, not really, because that's all natural materials, and you could make that out of just hollowed out piece of wood. Takes a little bit of a practice. You might want to turn this one around and bring it towards you. Like that. There's one way to do it. As you can see, it takes a little bit of a knack to it.
I haven't practiced before, and we don't want to
Anyway,
spend too much time, but this is beautiful. And you made all of these were fashioned by you, and you learned as a child.
Yeah.
From
my relatives,
okay.
My father, grandfather, just relatives in the family.
That's amazing. So your father, how old were you when he was showing you how to
do this? To quote my mother, I disappeared in the woods when I was 3 years old. So
you're like Davy Crockett.
I don't know about all that, but anyway,
this man is for real.
This type of call here is the oldest type call that's been documented in Virginia to have been used by Native Americans 5,000 years ago. They found calls like this, I guess, in caves.
Oh my gosh! No, please.
You can just hold it.
Okay. And so
this is made from a wing bone of a turkey. This is a single piece of wing bone, and it's this type. One piece or a 2-piece would have been more commonly used by Native Americans than a more elaborate 3-piece, although they were all used. And you can actually call a turkey with this simple call. It's pretty simple.
Wonderful.
The 2-piece one has a little bit different sound.
Is that a younger turkey?
Not necessarily. They're all going to sound a little bit different.
Okay.
You can really fine tune them, and you end up with a call that's maybe glued together that's a 3-piece that will even sound even better. These are the hardest calls to use, so consequently there's not a whole lot of people making them or even use them anymore. It's kind of a lost tradition.
Oh my gosh. Now, Olin, do you think, or in your opinion, is this the ideal? Is this the best?
There's really no best.
It
It's
just seems
just-
interesting that this would be made from the bone of the animal that you're trying to attract, and it seems like inherently that would be, I don't know, on some energetic level, sort of your most effective. But these are certainly impressive, but this is just stunning and very attractive. I think it would make an awesome.
Any turkey
Nonetheless.
collar can be effective. It's the person using it that knows how to use it
Yes.
to the circumstance or the kind of turkey that you're calling, whether it's fall hunting, you want to use a certain type of call. If it's spring hunting, you use a different type of call. If the turkeys are split up, there's a different strategy behind it, and that's a whole segment in
Okay.
itself, and it would take a lot of time to talk about all the different kinds of turkey calls. Basically, we're just these
Totally
calls you can
rushing
make
the
yourself and don't have to go to the store to buy them
Okay.
as our native ancestors did.
Okay.
Is what we're trying to point out, I think, here.
Well, and then as you're saying this, and the thought creeps into my head, gosh, how would I ever even begin to learn about such a thing? He was, as from the cradle, surrounded by this in his environment, and so for him it was very natural to come into this. For people that want to learn more, whether it's about traditional hunting or turkey hunting specifically, or if they're already hunters, more about, as you said, the sort of minutia of when and where and why and how, what would you suggest that they do?
Well, you can look at a lot of books, which you're only going to get a limited amount of knowledge out of a book. And I'm sure there's somebody that has some videos out there who, I don't know, and really,
You need a video!
I need to do a video, or
We can help you with that.
I need to have a workshop for interested folks that are close
Well,
by.
and if I may then, let me just skip over to say that Olin is a part of the Backyard Revolution family. We are on board the enterprise together, and hope that ultimately we will be able to offer to interested parties ideas and inspirations that will lead people into a path of more independence, true independence. And so at Backyard Revolution, we've been fortunate enough to have numerous festivals that Olin has participated in, really been our MVP in so many ways, doing turkey calling, orienteering with map and compass, traditional hunting, and of course
Archery, launching arrows,
This
building
and
funny
that's-
strings, building bows. I'm going to be doing a lot more of that now that I'm on board with
You're on the pro staff with Bear Archery.
yes,
And
I'm
so
going to be doing even more of that.
we're going to be having a whole nother segment where Olin will give us some insight into how Fred Bear inspired him as a child. And today, I guess, do you have anything you'd like to leave our friends with before we head on?
That's probably enough said today, Adrienne.
Okay.
In 10 minutes or less.
Okay.
There's a lot of knowledge here to be shared.
Well, it's sacred knowledge, and we appreciate so much you sharing it with us here
Well,
today.
if you help other people, you can help yourself, and that's my motto.
Yeah, yes. With that, thank you for watching this lesson. A lesson, it's a blessing to have learned, and certainly here, lots of knowledge that we're fortunate to have been imparted to us. And so, God is blessed, God bless, we'll see you next time. Thank you. Thank you, Olin.
Thank you, Adrienne.